20 years!
Whoop, 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 whoop. Oh my God, I'm old. Ugh.
This is the One Step Better podcast. Helping small businesses make wins each and every week. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the One Step Better podcast. I am Mike, and this is Matt.
What's up, Mikey Mike?
Oh, not much, man.
Bunch.
Today, we're going to have some fun. A little bit of a offbeat, not normal episode. Today, we're going to talk about 20 years. 20 years ago, in 2003, Pasco County began. It's a fun anniversary to celebrate. It's always good, times like this to look back and think through what in the world were you thinking 20 years ago. And
I wasn't thinking, Mike.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it.
all the things. If you don't know the story of how things got started, we've done a podcast on that. You can go back and listen to it. But essentially, to catch everybody up, you lost a job, decided, hey, let's go see what this looks like because somebody said, hey, can you do my tax return? And you said, yeah, well, I'll figure it out. And next thing
I was still looking for a job, though. I mean, I'm not sure this is like a career.
It was
but
never, I'm going to
take
open
some extra
something.
cash to do a tax return. Yeah, I think back in the very beginning, it was like I walked into a lot of luck. I mean, I'm renewing my CPA certificate, and somebody says, can you help me? And then, hey, that person next door to you, I was talking to him, and he needed an accountant. And then, hey, that guy has a network that he's a part of a BNI group. You should join us. Okay, great. I did that. Like, it was kind of like this weird, just coincidence after coincidence after coincidence of like, this is interesting where this could go.
It was never I sought out to do this. Here's my like super
I have
organized,
no business plan,
detailed
no.
business plan. This is my 10-year pro forma. These are all the goals I'm going to hit. Here's the financing I need. It wasn't anything structured. It was simply, I'm going to take this next step that's directly in front of me because that guy says he needs help. And then that turned into, oh, well, there's another step and another step. And then like a bunch of steps down the road, that's when you start to look back and say, wait a second.
Yep.
Maybe this is a business.
Right. Yeah. I mean, from December of 2003, the story is, Mandy is at work with somebody and her mom needs some tax help and they know that I'm an accountant and I can do a tax return. Sure, I'll help her. She has some tax notices and all that stuff. To the next step, Mandy's at a Bible study and the lady next to her is crying and saying, hey, do you happen to know of an accountant? To the CPA certificate thing. I'm still thinking, I'm still looking for a job, like a real job, like one that actually gives me money.
When you like go visit your parents, is your mom like, hey, so when are you actually going to get a job?
No,
you know?
They're definitely not there now. But in the beginning, it was very much like, hey, you have a 9-month-old. What are you doing, man? Go get a job. So, yeah, I mean, that first tax season that of the 03 tax return year, 2004, it was very much just I'm still getting my severance check, and there's I can try to see if this makes any sense to do some tax returns. Nothing else, I can have a little mini practice on the side. And then it starts to grow some momentum, and you're like, this is actually pretty interesting. I think there's something here. Having my own business was always something I had in the back of my mind, but I had no idea what that would look like. And just through one little momentum step after another was, by the time tax season was over, I'd done 100 tax returns, had basically about 10 business clients probably. I'm looking at how, if I'm going to do this and I need to have some help, how am I going to put them in my house to work with me? I'm working out of my house and I'm looking at I need to find a place to get out of the office because I can't start in the morning and I'm working till 3. So I'd get started at 10 a.m. and because it would take me time to get started. Morning sports center was on. The kids are at home. Kid is at home. Mandy's going to work, and it's like, it's 10:30. I probably should get going. I mean, I'm still in my pajamas. And then like 3 a.m., I'm still working, and I just couldn't start and I couldn't stop. And so it was always this struggle. And I was like, I got to go get like a job.
Yeah.
I got to go to a place to work. And also we were at the point where I knew I needed some help. And so by the end of that first tax season, 100 tax returns, I'm like, I have to go find a space. And so in May of 2004, found the space. Ron Townsend, still a client today. We were in about 600 square feet, which I think is smaller than this podcast studio. And Mandy, I remember Mandy saying, well, I don't know. It was a one-year lease for $600 a month. And then she's like, that's a major commitment. Like, that's just a major commitment. Yeah. Are you sure you're going to do
this?
That's
like $7,000 for the year.
Correct. And she's like, well, you can't do that unless you have 3 to 6 months of rent saved up. And I'm like, well, I think I got 15 grand in the bank right now, so we're okay, right? She's like, you do? I'm like, yeah, I've bbeen busy. And she's like, okay, then you can do it. And so I think it already said signed the lease before I told her I had. But
sounds about right.
Yeah. So I'm in the building in May of 2004. Yeah.
That's just a few months. That's like what, 5-6 months after you really had that first,
Yeah, I
client
mean,
one.
I say client was I did a tax return for $100.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, you got to start somewhere.
You gotta start
Don't
somewhere.
despise humble
I'd say this,
beginnings.
I think I spent more money to buy the tax software than to do the tax return. I definitely spent more when I figured I had to get a laptop to do the tax return and a printer. So to actually print the tax
So
return.
the first goal was I need to cover the cost of my office supplies that I just bought.
You know what? That's budgeting 101 right there.
That's so funny. So, and then you fast forward a few years and it's not really much significantly better. I'm working a bunch of hours, putting in a ton of work.
I'm growing as fast as I can grow in the work I'm doing, and I'm making literally no more money. I'm either buying new technology, moving into new space, adding employees, and all those things are doing is help me get the work done, but it wasn't driving any new profit. So
At what point in the past 20 years have you, if you have, I think you have, felt like you got over the tipping point where it's like, I'm nervous about what this is, and like I got to make payroll, and like I got to pay, for the building and like all this stuff, and to where you finally just said, you know what, I think I'm good.
honestly, 07, 08, PASBA changed my life. I mean, it really, that group and the epiphany of, holy crap, this is a real business that I can really, I don't have to be the doctor. I don't have to be the person that does the accounting long term. I still do today, but long term, how do I get there? But also just there's a model, there's a structure to run this type of firm I want to run. And that transition was like, it was an epiphany. It was definitely like, that was, eureka. You see that and you go, these people have got this stuff figured out. I just got to go do what they're doing. Once that happened, all the light bulbs went off of, this is a model that is repeatable, that I can know how to hire people, and I know what we're selling, and I know how to service them the right way. And I just have to go be a sponge on these other firms to know that this is possible.
At that point, that was 2006.
I joined PASBA in May of 07.
07. Okay. So at that point, you caught the vision of there is organization, a model, or if I put in the inputs, I know what the output is going to be.
Yep.
Then it's just how can I fuel the fire?
Well, yeah, but also it gave me guidance on, okay, here's the type of employee I need to hire. Here's the only things we're going to sell and not sell. And I mean, I still have said yes to projects outside of that scope, but I knew it was a project, not the model we were running, which was all.
Was it your core business? Yeah.
Project business.
Yeah.
It was definitely an epiphany. And then, from there, I mean, at that point, I'd already replaced my old salary, and my lifestyle was at the same level it was at the time. And now I'm making a little bit more money, and so I can see that I can fuel growth. I know that I can cover all my bills. And, at this point, 07, we had our third child. And, I feel like, okay, I'm in a good, solid core place. And from that point forward, really, I knew that I have something that's going to be sustainable. Not at the size I want it to be yet, not as much money as I would love to have made, not as, not doing things we want to do.
But you saw the vision.
Oh, definitely. It was clear, very clear.
Was there ever a point, or at what point was it like, you know what, this may be a side hustle, this may be my core thing? At what point was it like, we're all in on, we're going to figure this out?
May of 04.
Pretty early on.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that right away. Like, I love the idea of building something. Yeah. I didn't know how to build it. I was figuring it out. But once I got to an office and out of my house and my severance ran out, it was very apparent that this is what I want to do.
Yeah. There was no going back.
I've never thought one day of not having this business be that business from that point forward. I never thought about a second job. I have explored over the years. Early on, probably that first or maybe within 18 months, I actually was offered they would buy my practice and go work for a big, large regional firm here in town. And basically they were telling me they were going to pay me what I was making then, plus a little bit of money for the book, which they probably wanted zero of my clients at that time. And it was worth it to me to look. I mean, it would have been a partner track in a fast way at a firm that was very successful, but that the having to listen to somebody else tell me what we're going to do, I didn't love that idea. I had a clear enough that I like being my own boss. This is a lot of fun, and I get to build the thing that I want to build. And so it didn't go very far.
If you think back over the past 20 years, what are some of your most fun or big memories and moments?
Some early milestones, honestly, I immediately think of all the people we've had on the team and the clients we've been able to serve. Like, I think about the stories of how we sent out 3,000 mailers that first tax season, and I sent letters to all my friends and family. And we got Martha Wilson as a client, Doug Harpel as a client, and they were a client. Martha's still a client, and Doug was a client until he sold his business 5 years ago. He was a client for 15 years. And so those are the stories that immediately come to mind. I mean, I think about all the wonderful people we've had, as part of the team. I think about Tammy and Jen and Ling and all the times they swapped offices and shared office together, and they moved out of the office and moved back into an office, or the 4 times we moved Rick. I think about all the holiday parties over the years, doing this way. I mean, first Christmas party we did at Villa Castriati in Cordova with a table of 5 that included spouses.
Which is just like, hey, we're going out to dinner.
We're going out to dinner. Yep, exactly what happened. And then we had many years at my house in Cordova. I mean, we probably did that for 5 or 6 years. We moved out to Eads in 2009, and we held, Christmas parties. I remember having a retreat of basically the whole firm at my office. We went through and just we analyzed our book against the PASO model and said, how many people are off of process? And we went through, I had it pulled up on my home TV, attached a computer to it, and we were going through it one by one. And I remember those. It was super fun. And I think about that being, earth-changing time spent to get to where we are now. But yeah, those early days parties and, just the 1,000 mistakes I've made to get to where we are with technology and impacting change, and coming back in from a conference and having 40 ideas that we want to try to do at exactly the same time, right away, immediately, with no buy-in or discussion about why. We're just going to do this. I found this new software that we went at a conference, and I'm going to come back and implement it. I mean, I've been through 5 practice management softwares and 4 payroll softwares and all the things over the years, but they all had the same intent. I mean, they all had the intent of, there's got to be a better way. We got to make this better. This is not as good as it could be. And so that part's been fun. I think through all the cutting up at work and hanging out after work and all the fun stuff with the team over the years is my favorite part.
How are things different today than they were, 15 years ago, from just your role? I would imagine there's times in which, maybe you're sitting out in your car about to leave and you just kind of look at things and it's like, man, this is
it happens
where we're at.
It happens a lot. I see that. When we moved into this building, it was like, it's 53 parking spots. We're never going to have a problem. Now I'm like, this thing's full. And I love seeing, like, you'll see a new car in the parking lot, or you'll see people hanging out after work together as friends, not as coworkers. And that camaraderie is awesome. My role is entirely different today. I don't feel like I'm always 100% connected to every single person like I was in the meeting as the team's gotten bigger. But I do feel like the team itself has that same cohesiveness of, we're working around people we really like to work around. And that's the part I'm super proud of. I think about all the people that started with me as basically kids, like I was a kid. I think, Jen was fresh out of school, or Tucker was fresh out of school. Asher was in college when he started with us. And I mean, you were under 30 when you started here. I was 29 when I opened this firm. And I'm like, I keep thinking through some of those first client interaction with a 45-year-old business owner going, why is this guy going to say yes to me? I'm some punk kid. Kitchen table. I met with Martha Wilson at her kitchen table. When I was first starting out, I had Handicap Limited was our client, and they were going through a mess, and I could bill them weekly. And so I made sure every Thursday, I made sure that I had an invoice ready for them so I could go pick up a check on Friday so that I could make sure we had payroll money. And those were I was helping them. They needed a lot of help. And luckily I had that, because that was a recurring stream that could create a lot less stress on my life. So it was fun stories.
Yeah. You mentioned that, and one of our core values is passion for purpose. And I think through the accounting space as a whole. And a lot of times, I'll go through undergrad, get an accounting degree. Maybe I'll go get my CPA, and then I'm going to go to one of these big four giant accounting firms where I'm working on Fortune 500 companies.
That's
and
what I did.
I don't ever see. It's significantly harder to see the impact that my job as an accountant makes.
Starting a lawn care business, he had spent basically half of his payout from FedEx on new lawn equipment, and he was just figuring it out. I mean, he had never used QuickBooks before. He had never had books before. I don't even know what he did at FedEx, but he'd worked there for 25 years.
Yeah.
And he was 50 years old and said, I can't retire yet, and I think I want to build a business. I mean, he was with us till he really retired at 65 and sold a business to his employee. And I'm like, what a wonderful story.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he had ups and downs, and he, working on the back of a lawnmower for 15 years can't be good for your body. But, I mean, he was going after it every day. He was a great client. Love him.
We our marketing team pushed out some pictures here this week about then and now.
Yeah.
And I was looking through those, and the picture of you as like baby faced Matt starting the firm
look better now than
versus
then.
now. It's like now you have like the gray regal look.
Something.
But
it's not regal. It's
the
called
one
age.
that I think hit the most for me is Mallory.
Yeah.
The picture of Mallory as a baby, basically, little bitty girl, and then you see the picture of her now, where she is on staff here, working here as like a grown adult woman. Is 20 years.
Yeah, I think back that go. My kids don't know a time when I didn't have
this
a firm.
wasn't a thing.
This wasn't a thing. They remember going to my first office that had horses behind it. That was Cordova Station. I was there a year. Maddie was 1 when I left that office. Mallory was 3.
Yeah.
It's R2. And so they remember
babies.
They remember that. And so they remember the elevator at Trinity going up and down. And I would race them. I'd go up the elevator and they'd go up the stairs and see who won. I remember doing that many a time. And I remember them doing, you remember the little hoverboards?
Mm-hmm.
They would do hoverboards around that office. They brought their hoverboards to Forest Center and because they could do a full lap inside. And they would do that over and over again. Or the Easter egg hunt we did with the cash. Maddie helped us hide the eggs, and then also hid an egg that she knew that nobody knew where it would be, and so she came back a week later and got the egg. And I remember it was like Maddie was 8, 7 years old. She's like, I know there's an egg that you guys didn't get. I bet. And she's like, it's right here. Has $20 in it. It's mine. And so it was great. I remember those stories were fantastic. My kids were raised in the firm.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
I mean, I think I've been here for
your kids have been raised
a little bit over 9 years, and almost half the time. And we have pictures of Mason and Cameron and Deontay and Sam, other folks' kids.
Babies.
This is what they know.
They know this is where Dad works. Work is. It's awesome. I love it. I love the stories. I mean, I've seen Debbie's kids, Ty and Deontay, have grown up here. I mean, Ty was 10 when she started. I remember the first Christmas they got their TV, and I remember the picture she sent me of them going, "Oh my gosh, we got a TV for Christmas from your boss." And I remember, Deontay's been at my house when he was 3 years old, so I remember all that. And Ty is working a full-time job, works for Eggs Up.
They're like grown-ups.
They're grown men. Like he's having a baby. Like he's a grown man.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun to think about.
Andy was a kid. When she started. So, and he's a grown man with married and kids and all this stuff. And you're like, man, how old is he now? 26? Holy crap, we're old.
Yeah.
But that's what I remember. So it's awesome.
It is. And the downside of that is,
holy crap, we're old.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, man, that wasn't really 20 years ago, was it?
It wasn't. No, it hasn't been. It's been amazing.
Another one of my favorite things is I've heard this story a billion times about the origins of Patrick Accounting, and one of the things that always sticks out is as you go through the list of people that first signed up 20 years ago and were clients and you were doing tax returns for, the amount of those people, companies, businesses that are still clients today or were still clients until Doug sold his business is remarkable to me.
Oh yeah, John Laish, first year.
All of those early clients.
A lot of those early clients. You're talking about out of the 35 clients or so that we had in 2007 when I joined PASBA, I think we have 20 of them left, other than the ones that aren't still here, or businesses that have sold, or they moved away. I mean, that's the majority of them. Obviously some of the clients have left for other reasons, but the reality is, like, you look back and go, those are foundations of people that I have wonderful relationships. Jamie Banfield, John Leish, Doug Harpel, Pat Colwaite, all those guys, Morris Nutt, all those guys that we started with are still around, and we're lucky enough to still serve them.
And it's been a lot of fun because Patrick County looks significantly different than it did 20 years ago, but their businesses, a lot of them look significantly different because they've had similar stories of, we went out and served our clients, and next thing you know, we had more clients and more, and now we're building something. And to be a part of that, even on a small scale as a accounting partner, is like, there's a lot of value that comes with that. There's a lot of worth that comes with it. There's a lot of pride that comes with that.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, I love all those stories. I mean, I think through like Pyros, who we've had, Chad and Kirk came into my office when we were in Forest Center, first location. They were just opening up their first store, and now they have 27 stores or whatever that number is today.
Yeah.
And we're blessed to be a part of that story along with them.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. A lot of memories, a lot of good times.
Fun. I never imagined this would be true. I never imagined this is where we'd be. And man, I so love that we get to spend time with the team that we get to spend with every day, the people we work besides. I feel a billion times blessed to be working alongside our team and the clients we get to serve. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Matt, 20 years. Thank you for
another 30 or 40 more. Let's go.
All the things that you've built here, for all the people that you've been able to bring aboard and make an impact on, both clients, employees across the board. It's been a fun ride. And looking forward to the next
40
100 years.
Let's go. I hope there's generations to come.
That's right. And if you're a client out there that has been with us in this ride, thank you guys for trusting us to handle some of the work that we do for you guys. It is truly an honor and a blessing to be a part of your business, even as a small part of it. It's a lot of fun, and we don't take it for granted. And so thank you guys very much. And for all you other listeners, I appreciate you joining us. Make sure that you come back next week. We'll get back on to normal rhythms, normal schedules. We'll talk about something different. And so thank you guys for joining us over the past 20 years and into the future. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the One Step Better podcast. I'd really appreciate it if you would take some time to rate us 5 stars on your podcast player of choice, and make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you never miss out on another episode. Thanks, and have a great day.